Welcome back, everybody. League of Inches podcast is here. It's our Origin preview. Game 3, the decider, Suncorp Stadium. Cannot wait for this one. I think we're up for one of the deciders of all time, one of the Origin matches of all time as well, just the way it's panned out over this series. Both teams have had a little bit of dominance in either game. And I think both teams have probably got their strongest side on the park for this game 3 for what they could possibly have with injuries and the like. So it's a really exciting game. We're going to get straight on. I'm not even going to bother asking how people are because this is Origin. We are literally 2 nights out from kickoff. We're getting fired up already. We've got Trav the Queenslander on. We've got Jake and Jesse the New South Welshman. I'm your host. I'm supposed to, I guess, be civil, but I am New South Wales as well. I'm bleeding blue tonight, boys, just because it's the decider. So it's 3 against 1, but we will play nice. Trav will dead set hold his own as well. Don't worry about that. He will. We're a bit scared of Trav at the moment. He's ready to throw some. He's getting into that Queenslander spirit. And just in case he's forgotten, he's from Queensland. He's a Queenslander. Just because Billy has told you so and reminded you. So I want to start off. I'll get you, Trav. I'll get your thoughts. Your recap of your series so far, how do you think things have gone from both games, and who's got the advantage you feel coming into game 3?
Good question. Recap, boring. I think the first 2 games have been boring. The blowouts are not fun. I don't want to watch Origin and watch blowouts. I want to watch Origin and I want to see gladiators beat each other up, and I want to see the talent. I want to see the skill on the ground, and I want to see fast, close matches. So I whilst as a Queenslander fan, I enjoyed the win in the first one. I also didn't overly enjoy it either. I was off to bed quite early, so it was good. In the second game, when we got smoked in the first half, was one of the best first halves I've ever seen. So, yeah. So I hope as a NRL fan that this week I just want a close game. I'm a Queensland fan. I obviously want us to win. I got 3. I'm surrounded in Blues people here. Obviously, you all want to see Blues win. I want to see us win. But for a fan of the footy, I want to see a good, hard, close game. The last thing I want to see is another blowout.
Yeah, no, you make a good point, and it is something we'll bring up a bit later on. But I feel like you're right in a way in regards to this series because it's basically been blowouts both times. So it hasn't been that Origin sort of style game where it's bash and barge and you're hanging on the edge of your seat with the last 10 minutes, not knowing that the way it's going to go. We've pretty much known well out from both games who's going to win. Jakey boy, what about you? Your recap of the series so far, and who do you think has that advantage heading into game 3?
Yeah, well, to follow on with what Trav said, I mean, like that first game, it's hard when you have a player that gets taken off 7 minutes into a game. Like, I think that game had potential to Queensland only scored 1 try. We hadn't been looking that great, but, you can always turn it around at the 7 minutes into a game. Like, there's always time for that. And I think that we had, like, it could have been an interesting game had he been set off for maybe 10, but as soon as he was gone, we knew that was gone. And then the next game, obviously, in neutral territory, we've come out and then flogged it. It's the same thing. But if you're going for advantage, I think the Suncorp advantage is massive for Queensland. But what I think will happen is, if it was in New South Wales territory, I think we win that game, and it's 100%. I'm not even too stressed about it. But because it is in Suncorp, I think that will really even the odds for both teams. I think it's going to be a very close game. We won't know who's going to win it until the end, and I think that's exactly what you're looking for. So that's what I'm looking for. I want it to be, actually, I'd rather we flog everyone. That's totally fine by me if the Blues get it absolutely flogging. I won't be too stressed about it. But for the sake of being a footy fan, you want a cracking game. You want that interesting game, and I think that it will happen. So the Suncorp will bring the Queenslanders into this, is what I think will happen.
Yeah, and I think the weather so far, I think we've got a good matchup ready to come, basically weather-wise. So hopefully that stays the same. There's no rain or anything, and it's a dry, fast track because I think both teams will suit that, and we'll get a very, very good game. Jesse, what about your thoughts on the series so far, and who you think's got the advantage heading into the decider?
I've actually really enjoyed this series. Obviously, barring the first game, I think it was a bit of an outlier, though. You can't do much about that. You can sort of just, write it off as a loss.
Hang on.
Wait a
Hang
second.
on. You've enjoyed this series, obviously not the first game. So you've only enjoyed the second game, which is obviously the one New South Wales won in.
Hold on.
So of course you've only enjoyed one game.
Okay, so I didn't enjoy the win that Queensland got in the first one because I feel like it was, I wouldn't say illegitimate, but I feel like as soon as you get sent off in the first, 7 minutes, like Jake said, it's done. And all you can do from there is just see how they run and enjoy it. And I have enjoyed the selections. The team selections have been really good. I find every year they seem to be a massive talking point about, Queensland just have this side that they can throw out a bunch of shitters and still manage to get a win. New South Wales have a team of superstar fullbacks, and for some reason they lose. So you know what I mean? So I've actually enjoyed the selections. I think they're valid. I think they're picking on key strengths, and this team as well for three, even on for both sides as well. Queensland have a dangerous looking side. I really like what they've done, shaking up their back line. I think it's better than the first two games, to be honest. But that's one side of things that I think they've gotten right. I think Madge and Billy have actually done themselves a justice with the selections. And the games have actually been, the second game was actually fantastic. I don't want a close game. I want an absolute blowout. I want to rub Queensland into the dirt. I mean, guys saying I want a 4-point scoreline. I want to be pushing it to the end, which is fun and all. I get it, but fuck, I'd love to see another
That's
60
fair,
pointer.
actually.
But
Now that I think about it, you know what? That sounds really good.
yeah, doesn't it? So there's that. But yeah, look, two results ended on 38. So I'd be hard pressed to see this game go to 38 points for the winner, but I do think it'll be a close one. But yeah, no, it's been pretty, anticipated this decider more than
Come on,
I suppose
who's
every
got the
year.
advantage, you think?
I think Queensland has a better. I think Queensland has the home advantage, which is huge. But I feel like the Blues have the better team.
Someone finally admitted it. I've been saying this for weeks that the New South Wales team is better. And no,
better.
the poor Queenslander needs to play the underdog. Finally, someone said it.
I'll happily campaign for that. In every department, I reckon the Blues look better.
We should go through
But
the team.
again, it's a different mentality for Suncorp. So yeah, it's just that Suncorp effect, really.
Yeah, I feel like for the series so far, from my perspective, Queensland won game one and they had that sort of blowout in a way with that man advantage. And New South Wales, it took them some time. I think Madge admitted it after the game. It took him too long to react to them going down that left side a lot and him not being able to fix that. He should have put Crichton basically there straight away and he didn't. Once we did do that, I noticed it did sort of shore up that side a fair bit. So that kept the scoreline somewhat respectable considering it was against a 12-man team. And I feel like when I've watched that back and I watched some highlights, looked over some stats again and that, New South Wales got a lot of confidence out of that, knowing that they didn't get completely blown off the park when they played 72 minutes with 12 players. So that's huge, I think, for confidence. And then they went into game two, neutral ground. So it's sort of put your best team on the park, put your best foot forward and see how you go. I think the conditions, that slippery sort of underfoot weather sort of suits the Blues a little bit more than it suited Queensland. And that showed. The second half time, sort of the game was won. I think we can all agree on that one. And New South Wales sort of went through the motions in the second half. There's been talk about the referee trying to even up the penalty counts and stuff as well and help Queensland a little bit on the front foot in the second half. But at the same time, they scored a few tries in that second half and made the scoreline respectable for their point of view. I think New South Wales have the edge just coming into this game. I think it would be a bigger gap if it wasn't at Suncorp, but the fact that Suncorp comes into it is huge because I think it's a huge mental thing more than anything. In saying that, I think New South Wales have a team that at the moment don't really give it flying you-know-what and won't get affected by it too much or too intimidated. I think there'll still be something, but it's just, I don't know, I haven't seen this in a Blues team for a number of years now where it's sort of like they are wanting to be the big dogs and be hunted and they're happy to take that mantle piece. And I'm loving it. I'm loving what Madge is doing. He does this a lot of the times. He used to do this last couple of years with the Kiwis. We've seen him go into tournaments and as the longer the tournament, the better his team has gotten. And I just feel like the Blues could be getting the benefit of that at the moment. I just feel like Madge isn't shy to call people out as well. Like he called out Billy game 2. He's called out Gordy now in game 3. he's not shy to play these games with him. He's not like Freddie in the past hasn't wanted to do anything like this. So
Yeah.
I'm welcoming it with open arms as a Blue supporter. I think it puts us just ahead. But in saying that Suncorp, as you said, and it gets us into the second point here is this Suncorp hoodoo. Is the game as good as done already before we've even kicked off, knowing how hard it is for the Blues to win these deciders in Queensland at Suncorp Stadium, the graveyard? Jesse, do you think the game is almost as good as done already, or
No,
the Blues
not at
do
all.
have a chance here?
I think they've got more than a chance. I think when you look at the first two games, it took us going to 12 men to get 38 points put on us. And we still got, 2 tries out of it. When it was an even 13 on 13, full strength sides against full strength, essentially both teams were pretty much how they wanted them to be at that point. We walked them. We absolutely smoked them. It wasn't even a contest. So I think level playing grounds with 2 full strength sides, I think it's, the ball's very much in the Blues' court. I think just the fact that it is at Suncorp, there is this discussion about it now. But yeah, go anywhere else, and I don't think there's too much going on there. So I don't think it's done. I think it's probably a good chance for them to break this curse because I really do like the Blues side, and I think they look great. But yeah, man, I'm very, very happy to see it go up there, and I would love to see Queensland get thumped in their own, backyard, just to set that point. It would make me a very happy boy. So, yes.
I'll just pre-warn everyone as well, which I should have did this at the start of this podcast. Anytime Origin is mentioned in a podcast or it starts, Jesse literally since game 1 before, like that week before, he's just been a different beast this last 6 or so weeks. He's obviously this is his last podcast really talking Origin, and he's going to let a lot of things out. It's clear. I'm all for it. We're passionate here. It's great to see. Trav, yeah, your home ground. The confidence level must be rising, and you probably think the game's as good as already won. You're holding up that trophy, surely.
Yeah, look, I'm confident. I'm a Queensland supporter. I'm confident. I look at the list. I still think the New South Wales list is better than the Queensland's list, and I'm pretty happy. I think we've made some really good choices. I'm stoked that Origin Gagai got picked. I thought he should have got picked game 2. So I think that's huge. And while some injuries to Coates and Talangi and that have sort of forced the hand, I actually would prefer that especially Talangi's injured, so that way Gagai does come in. I really like the way that they've done that, which pushes Holmes out to the edge, to the wing, which I think's just, yeah. So I think based off the troops that we've got available as a Queensland team, I think it's a Queenslanders team. I think we've got the best list that we can put other than, and I think this is the biggest downfall, and I think this may be the reason this will be a big play in the game, is that Capewell got picked and not Fifita. And I think Fifita should be there instead of Capewell. And I actually think that's where the New South Wales is going to start lining up. And I reckon that's going to be a bit of Achilles heel, for a lack of better terms. I think Suncorp. Go. Sorry, go.
I was going to ask you on that point quickly before you mention anything else, just while you do talk about it. I haven't really put in the notes, but it's good to quickly bring up. I don't know if this is too big of a call, and Jesse and Jake can nod their heads or shake it if they disagree, but I feel like Fifita has that X factor that Latrell sort of has for us. And when we picked him, you probably shat yourself a little bit, Trav, where for us, if you did name Fifita, I would have gone, oh, crap, they mean business like in game 3. That they're not going to take any prisoners. Like, I know Fifita, even if it's on the bench, he'll come on for 20, 25 minutes or something, and he'll just tear everyone apart. He'll just not stop running. He'll treat people like 10 pins, really, and it's a scary sight. The fact that, as you said, he hasn't been chosen, it's sort of gone the safety option for mine in a way with Billy, and I feel like this is the first time he's really done that, gone the safety. I know we'll bring up Ponga in later on, but when we talk about the forwards, it sort of feels a bit safe. I don't know. It's
I don't know how. Yeah. I don't think safe's the right word for Capewell's selection. I just don't. I don't think that's. Yeah, what's he even been doing for the Wars? Like, I just don't think
a lot.
Yeah. So why pick him for this? Like, yeah. It doesn't make sense. I can sort of understand game 2. Game 2 was kind of, we had him on the bench. There was a few injuries, a few things. I can kind of get it, but for this, Like it doesn't make sense to me when you've got a monster like Fafita. And literally you summed it up, which is what I was going to say afterwards, was that, you know, the Mitchell loss for the Blues is a really big loss, which I think for the Maroons and for us as supporters sits there and goes, thank the Lord that he's not playing. Because, and I said this for game at the start of game 2, there's a mission that he's going to play, and he played it really well. And, you know, in that first half of his, for you guys and the Blues, that it was a whole different kettle of fish. That New South Wales psyche and the way they played was just enormous. So yeah, I think based off the troops that are available, Queensland's made a really good selection for a list. Other than, I think he's stuffed up there with the Fafita Capewell, and I reckon that's going to be, there has to be some serious fixings within the group and what they're going to do to fix that selection, because I think that's going to, or Capewell's not going to last very long and they'll bench him. I've got some interesting stats for you. I've been doing a bit of research. So, so you want to talk about you want to talk, here we go. So you want to talk some hoodoos of this. So 22 game 3 clashes where the series has still been alive. Queensland have won 15. New South Wales have only won 5. 2 of them have been drawn. Queensland won those 2 series because it was the, what do they call the technique?
Year before they win it,
the carryover. Yeah, the carryover. Right. So that's damning for this stat 3 for the hoodoos. The Blues have won just 2 of 13 Suncorp Stadium hosted deciders. So 2 out of 13. So there's a legitimate say for that, the fact that this is a hoodoo, and that's going to sit in the psyche. And I think you can have Luai go up to Payne Haas and all these silly videos and go, hang on a second, New South Wales teams don't win in Queensland. What did we just do to you guys a couple of weeks ago? That was a funny video, but I reckon he's doing that because there's something sitting in the back of his mind going, yeah, well, actually we do shit ourselves a little bit when we go up to Suncorp, and we don't like game 3s.
I'll give it to you. There is obviously definitely something there. You can't hide past those stats. But Jake, do you think it's as good as done? We may as well not turn up.
God, no. No. I mean, look, this team that we have put out on the park is probably as close as we could get to the best New South Wales team we could put out there, if I'm being honest with you right now. Obviously, no Latrell. Yeah, it hurts. But I want it to be known that Bradman Best was my first choice left centre at the beginning. Obviously, he was injured, so he couldn't go anyway. But he was who I would have picked in the first one anyway. And I think he'll do the job. Game 3 last year, he crushed it. Everyone was like, oh, you know, I don't know if he should be the one that gets picked. And he played like an absolute weapon. I think he scored a try and he was just carving up. I'm happy to give him 2 tries. There you go. So he carved up. I'm happy to put him in there. Like, he'll do a job. In an elite team like that, who's going to get him early ball and do the way they need to do for him, he'll do the job. The only real other option potentially that I might have swapped is instead of Barnett, potentially Terrell May. But at the same time, Barnett's been crushing it this year. He's been smashing it. Like, I'm not mad about that either. Like, it's still a good pick. It's not like the difference between Capewell and Fafita kind of thing. It's like more of a, you know, it could be a bit either way. It wouldn't matter to me. I think the team that we have out there is the probably best, or as close to as best as it could possibly be without maybe Nathan Cleary as well. I forgot about him. But like other than that, you know, I get that there's hoodoo. I get it. We're going to go up against the crowd. We're going to go up against the ref. Like, I get that. But even Mitch Moses said it in an interview before. He goes, we know we're going up against the referee. Okay. We have to beat the referee. We have to beat the players. We just have to be that much better.
We're going up against 2 heads as well.
Yeah, true.
We're not Tasmanian, mate.
That's it.
So we're going up against 34 brains. But yeah, no. Yeah. I think it's definitely not over. It's not over. Like, I think it's not over until the game's over, and we're going to come. And I think Jesse said it before. It's a side that I don't think will give a crap, if that makes sense. Like, you've got a lot of Panthers in there who've won 3 premierships in a row, who've dealt with that. They've dealt with all the crap being put on them every game they go to, and obviously even Crichton, who's a Bulldogs now, and that, like, they're from there. Same with Lenny, like, they're even the different clubs now. They've still already had that pressure. There are a lot of high pressure players in that, like Dylan Edwards. You know, he's not going to freak out about it. 3 grand finals, he's fine. Like, don't worry about that. You know what I mean? I think we'll be okay.
I want to play a spontaneous game, you boys. I just thought of at the top of my head. That's how good of a host I am. I just bring these things as we go. So just give us a bit of love. Just hit subscribe just because of the thinking on the run here. We've got 3 of you boys. So this won't be there'll be no draws at all because there'll only be 3 votes. You either vote, nod your head for a yes, shake your head for a no. I'm going to go through the lineup and compare each player position by position. And I'll say who I think is in the form, who is in better form at the moment. And you simply just either nod your head or shake your head.
Better form or a better player overall?
Better form at the moment.
Okay.
Current form.
I'm going to try and prove a point here. So Reece Walsh against Dylan Edwards. It's a tight one. I think overall for the season, I think Dylan Edwards is the better informed
100%.
player.
Yeah.
That's
No,
not
that's
even
not a tight one.
Not even.
That's
a
not
tight. I don't know how you say
Not a
that's a
tight
tight one.
I'm going to try and keep count here, so try and bear with me, guys. Selwyn Cobbo against Brian To'o. I'm going to say To'o is in better form.
Definitely.
Gagai versus Best. I think this is one of the hardest ones because
Yeah, both of the
Best
same
has been
team.
in good form the last couple of weeks, but I think overall for the season, I think Gagai's actually been Newcastle's probably best player. So I'm going to give it to Gagai, actually.
Yeah,
Or Jesse.
I'll say Gagai
sweet.
too,
All right.
Disagree.
just for the longevity of the season so far.
The Hammer versus Crichton. Oh, tell you what.
Oh, mate,
I'll go Crichton.
Critter.
I'll go
Yeah.
Crichton.
You've gotta be
but it's-
Critter.
He's carrying the Bulldogs into the finals, mate. What are you
Turn the
doing?
Dogs into a premiership side.
All right, so I'll go Crichton. So you simply got to nod your head or shake your head.
Sorry.
Sweet. So it's so far it's 3-1. Queenslander. Val Holmes against Zach Lomax. I'm going Zach Lomax. Val Holmes shouldn't even be in this team if we're going off form.
Every day. Lomax.
Jake, what are you doing? Oh, you're
Already-
not. Yes.
I know that.
Oh,
No, no,
oh, you were just looking so steely. I was like, what have I said wrong?
no,
You actually
I think
scared
I'm
me a
right.
bit then. 5'8". Tommy Dearden versus Luai. I think Luai's been. I don't like him at all, but I think he's been very good this year. So I'll give this to Luai.
He's
Yep.
carrying. I mean, he's the main half of the Panthers, really, at the moment.
Yeah,
Oh,
he
we got
stepped up with Cleary.
a nod and a shake. Jake, what do you got?
Yes, I said yes before. Yeah.
All right. But look out. Daly Cherry Evans against Mitchell Moses. DCE for sure. Moses was out for a fair chunk, and I don't think he was playing that great before he got chosen for Origin. So Cherry Evans there. Ruben Cotter against Jake Trbojevic. Ruben Cotter has been sensational for the Cowboys. So Ruben Cotter.
Yep.
Here we go. They're coming back. Ben Hunt against Reece Robson. I'm going to have to say Ben
Ooh.
Hunt simply because he's got the Dragons on the back of him, basically him and Lomax. But
It's a hard one
Oh.
too, though, because
Yeah.
Ben Hunt hasn't been playing hooker in for the
Yeah.
Dragons.
Well, apparently,
So, yeah.
apparently Harry Grant's going to be shifted to start at hooker.
we're not going. I'm going off. Don't confuse me, Jake. We're going off the
No.
lineups, okay? I'll go
No.
Ben Hunt, nod or shake.
It's tricky. It's a lot easier for Ben Hunt to do much more than it is for Robson.
Different
Yeah.
job, yeah, different role. We should
For,
just
for
strike
the
on.
hooker side of things, I would definitely say Robson. He's probably been the
Well,
form
yeah.
hooker of the year.
But
Yeah,
if
so
you're just
shake
going to
your
go
head then.
just simply off form, I'm
I'm going off form.
with it.
The
Yeah.
form
going-
player.
There's form in different positions.
I'm
mate.
going-
All right,
I'm going
I'll say
Robson.
I'll go Robson.
Oh, wow.
I've got Ben
Okay.
Hunt.
6-3. Wow.
He,
Sorry,
he
man.
That's
plays
a-
hooker, so if you're going
update.
form in the hooker, if you're doing form in the hooker role, which is what they're going to play, you have to go Robson.
Yeah,
Yep.
but Ben Hunt was smashing in both Origin games at hooker. So, anyway, Lindsay Collins versus Payne Haas. Oh,
This is a tough one.
I think Payne Haas just for the overall season, but Lindsay Collins is right up there. Just shake your head, boys. Make it easy. Got one shake of the head? Yeah, sweet. I'll take the loss on that one because I felt
Yeah.
that was pretty tight. Kurt Capewell against Martin. We've already just
Yeah,
spoken about
obvious,
that.
obvious.
Liam Martin.
Go on.
It's a big no.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, a
Liam
big yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Sweet. So far, what is it? 7-4. Nanai against Angus Crichton. Crichton is the form back row of
Right,
the
that's
competition.
form second row of the column.
So I'll go Crichton for sure for that one. Pat Carrigan against Cam Murray. Tell you what, Cam Murray's been good since he's been back, but he's out for so long that I'm going to give the points to Carrigan here.
That's fair.
Makes sense.
All right, sweet. 5-8. Now the bench spots. We'll just go the 4 bench. I'm going the 18th man. That can get stuff. Harry Grant against Connor Watson.
Connor Watson.
Harry Grant, I'll say.
Yeah, I'll go Harry.
Oh, but off the whole year because Harry hasn't played for bloody ages.
I'll go the whole
He
year. I'll
only
go
hasn't
Harry
played for,
Grant.
what, 2 weeks,
No.
isn't it?
Watson's been
Okay.
incredible this year, even with look like the games they've played like for like and the amount of time they've both played this year. Disregard
Shake your head
injuries.
then.
Connor Watson's been insane, way better than Harry Grant.
Shake your head. Trav, what do you got?
I'm gonna have to say no, but
I'm agreeing. I think Grant's been better, but
So we got Connor Watson then. We got Connor Watson's won that one. Wow, I was not expecting that one. Fodawaker versus Isaiah Yo.
I don't even know why Fodawaker got picked.
yeah, I couldn't say that
I'll go Yo.
heard.
I'll go Yo.
Yeah.
Yep, sweet. Look out. 10-5. Kapusi versus Mitchell Barnett. I'll go Mitchell Barnett in a landslide.
Every day.
And then the last one, Ponga versus Lenu. I think Lenu's been absolutely sensational. One of the best bench forwards in the competition, apart from his clubman, Terrell May. So I'll go Spencer Lenu.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. After that, we've got 12-5 in the way of New South Wales. So they've arguably picked a team in better form than Queensland have. And the reason I say that is because then we talk about the game 2, that best half of football that we've seen in Origin for a long, long time, if not the best Origin half of football that's been ever been seen. How much does that carry into the equation when we're tipping stuff? We're trying to predict for the Blues. Do they go up here and go, you know what? We were that good in game 2, especially that first half. They could not match us anywhere over the park. We simply do that again. We'll win the game by halftime. We'll win the game. We can celebrate in the second half and just go through the motions, or it's a whole new start again, new mindset. Forget everything that's happened, and go again. Jakey boy.
Yeah, job's not finished. There's no way. If they're going, oh sweet, we're gonna get this in the bag early, they're gonna come out and get trounced, and the score's gonna be bigger than it was against them last round. You can't come out against Queensland at any point, no matter what team you are, like Queensland team you're versing, who's in the squad, ever, and go, yeah, no, sweet, this is an easy win. We've got the team to do this. We're fine. And we haven't earned it over the last however many series. We haven't earned the right to do that. They should be fighting tooth and nail to scrape a victory in this one if they have to. Obviously, if they come out and they smash it, yeah, that's great. But I don't think that they're going to come out going, we've got this in the bag. They're going to come out going, righto, boys, focus up. Take it seriously, do everything 100% perfectly. That's what they're going to go.
Yeah. Jesse, how much does the form then play into that? Because, as I said, for me, it's the best half of Origin football I can ever remember a team playing, and that's talking the Queensland dynasty as well. I think that display in the first half last game was absolutely ridiculous. It was just so set. And just everything they did was gold. And I have not seen that for a long, long time. And we've just spoken about it. They've picked a way more informed team. So surely they're just going to this going, you know what? We know how good we are. We know what we can do. Let's go. Let's do it.
Yeah, I think the belief will be there for the side. I think they've obviously got the confidence for it. And the fact that they did it in the second game, in that first 40, it was incredible. It was a really, really good thing to see. But again, like to Jake's point, there's still 80 minutes left. You know what I mean? And they can't go in thinking they've already won it, especially not against Queensland at Suncorp, considering the past and the history that they've got going on there. So I think they will take the positives out of it, but I very, very much doubt they're going to go in there thinking they've got it in the bag by any means. They've obviously, losing Latrell is massive. Best is a great player, but losing Latrell is huge, especially when they,
his aura.
They did go towards him for that kind of, impact, and it happened. He was a centerpiece for a lot of the attack in that side. So. Not to say Best can't do it, but I think the combinations from from that game 2 first half that really exploded, they're not exactly the same. I really like the makeup of the bench. I think that the forwards are going to be very strong. I think I can't fault the side in any way. But I think that mentality-wise, they've got to go out there and they just got to put it on the line because they have everything going right for them to get that result. But I feel like complacency might, it could get the best of them if they still they're still riding off the first 40 because again, it didn't carry into the second half as much as they would have liked either. So it's not like they could string a full 80 minutes of dominance like that together. It was just a come out of the gates unbelievably hot. And Queensland just sort of couldn't keep up at the same time. So they're going to half expect that to happen. I think if they do come out very, very hard and fast, and they pretty much put it to Queensland and say, look, we're here for business. Like, this is going to be a repeat of game 2 again. I'll be very surprised to see how Queensland kind of respond to it, to be fair. But very keen though. Like, it's the first 10 minutes is going to be huge. I think it's just going to be a bloodbath. So
yeah, I just before I throw it to Trevor, let's touch on that Latrell thing that you said, because I think it is a huge point that a lot of people have gone past in the lead up. And to be honest, I think the lead up to this game has actually been very, very quiet. It's a bit weird. I don't know what's going on, but the media and stuff, there's been hardly any talk about Origin, it feels like. I don't know. But Latrell, don't underestimate the impact Latrell has for the Queensland team, especially because I reckon as soon as he was picked, he was in Queensland's head in game 2, and I have no doubt about it. They played the whole week and stuff. There was just a lot of talk about Latrell. They would have been thinking about Latrell, meetings about Latrell, how do we contain him? And it showed, because every time he had the ball in game 2, there was at least 2 to 3 players on him, which opened up space either side of him. And he's that good of a player. He used that perfectly every single time. And it's a huge, huge loss because Bradman Best, as you said, doesn't carry that aura. And that's the big thing in these big games is the aura players. Those players who go, you know what, down and out, give me the ball, I'll make something happen. Latrell can do that. I don't think Bradman Best has that in him at the moment in this early in his career. He's just not that style of player for mine. But Trav, you've got Suncorp advantage. We all know that. We spoke about that just before. But how worried are you after seeing that first half of game 2 with how this can pan out?
No, I'm not. No, I take that as an anomaly. Really, that was and credit where it's due. I know I said this at the start. That was the best half of NRL that I've seen since I've been watching it of an entirety. It doesn't matter. Grand finals, international. That was the best half of NRL I've watched in my entire life of watching. That was amazing, and I really, I sat there in awe, just going, "Holy hell!" I think I actually don't understate how big it was to obviously pick Latrell Mitchell and what was happening there. But geez, Mitchell Moses was a massive in for that game too. And I think that was also a really, really big key to the way that you guys and the way that everything sort of panned out that first half of that game, and everything went right. All for that to happen, all the ducks had to be stuck in a row, and it worked, right? The Queensland list wasn't picked, the team wasn't picked right. Billy Slater had his game plan wrong. The players didn't turn up to play ready to go in a neutral venue, thinking we just belted these guys in game 1. It's everything just aligned to having that, and it was by far the best half of footy. I think that's an anomaly. It's not going to happen again in 2 days' time. There's been weeks now where Billy's been figuring his shit out and waked himself up because he hasn't had to deal with this since he's been in line, right? So this is a massive thing that he sat here going, oh, and I reckon that's a massive slap in the face for him to wake the hell up. And I reckon that's what they've gone and done for the last few weeks. And I reckon when they've gone and picked, and I think that's a really key, important pick as to why they picked Gagai. Gagai, We've got you. Come in here, tell us what's going on, show us what's going on, be a leader, get ready, lift us up. And so I just think that's an anomaly.
I feel like
it's funny too. Oh, you go. Sorry.
No, go.
I was just going to say, it's kind of funny too. I've seen some media and some different things that people like going, oh, Billy Slater's worried and he's scared and all this. And I'm like, if you think Billy Slater isn't so cool under pressure, you've never watched him play. Like, you haven't watched what he's done. I know he's a coach and I know it's a different role, but he is the most cool under pressure person you'll ever probably see. He just slow down, he'll work his way through it. And he, you know what, he's a threat. I know he's not playing.
But see, I think that's a really good point, Jake. He should be scared. Like, he should be, because that makes him sit there and make the right decisions and coach better and fix his game plan up and tell the boys, hang on a second, if you don't bloody turn up, this is what's going to happen. So I think that's a good thing.
He's definitely got fear, but I'm just saying he's calm under that pressure anyway. Like, he won't.
100%.
Yeah, he'll have that, definitely.
Well, I
I'll
just
say
think it's a
something a bit.
wake-up call. I think getting belted for him was just a massive wake-up call that he's never really had to deal with. Like, even as a player, he's never really had to deal with those sorts of things. Like, that's an adversity that he's gone, hang on a second, I'm not going to let that happen again. Here we go.
I didn't like that.
Yep.
I feel like, and I'll be a bit controversial. I'll put my nose out there on the line, and I'll say game 2, Madge won that coaches battle by a knockout, and we
easy.
were within the first round. And Billy Slater, for mine, it was the first time in his coaching career, I felt like he was extremely shaken up a bit by a few things and just wasn't himself. I watched him so many times in press conferences, and I've been in awe of him. I remember when Parra job came up, I said Parra should throw the kitchen sink and more at him. That's how much I respect Billy Slater in that coaching capacity, because we all know as a player and as a Parramatta supporter, it was very, very hard to like the bloke when he was battling Jared Hayne and stuff. But you'd have nothing but respect for what he'd done in his career. But I think as a coach, he's honestly the next big thing in the coaching ranks. I've got no doubt about it. It's up to him if he wants it or not. But I just feel like in game 2, throughout that week, he was very tense, not like himself. And that was worrying signs when you look back at it, thinking this probably rub off on the players. Where this week, last week when I watched a few of his interviews, he did seem a lot more relaxed, which is a bit of a worry for us New South Wales fans, because it's like, oh, he's probably learnt from what happened in game 2 and he won't do the same mistake. But yeah, I just felt like Madge did definitely win game 2 by a huge knockout, in my opinion. And it's the first time we can probably say that in Billy's coaching career.
All 2 games of it.
Oh, he's been a coach of
Well, yeah, he had
2
last
years
year.
now. Yeah.
Yeah.
We are
But
Queenslanders.
either way. Yeah. Yeah, he had to really justify it to himself. I suppose, yeah, I don't know.
Where are you going with that, Jesse?
Hey? No,
There's something more. There's more.
Yeah, what are you talking about here?
No,
He
look,
doesn't
it's
rate-
got
he
nothing
doesn't
to do
rate
with that.
him.
I was just look, no, I do rate him a bit, to be fair. Like, he's done well with it, but again, like, I want to see a bit more out of it, to be honest. And I think against the Blues side that he did have to compete against in his first year, I just don't feel like it was a very hard run for him to get a win there. I feel like anyone kind of could have. Like, towards the end of Freddie's tenure, it wasn't very, very good. He had the team for it, but it was freaking shambolic.
Oh, yeah, but hang on a second. Like, the amount of changes that he put into that team, that everyone sat there going, what is he doing? Ruben, Cotter, Talangi, Nanai, like
Yeah, valid
the amount
picks
of things
for a
that he put.
side.
But they weren't, though. Like,
No, but look at it. Okay, think about them now. They were valid picks for a side that then needed to clean out in
you're
general.
saying, well, but they didn't, though, either. They didn't need the clean out. Billy Slater came in with the view that, hang on, if I'm going to be coach, I'm going to start picking players on some form, and I'm also going to pick players for the future, which is why he also went hammer. And after half a season of what he had done at the Dolphins with next to nothing at the Cowboys. So, like, no, that doesn't make sense, Jesse.
Yeah, but look what Wayne Bennett's done with him this season too. Like, you got to look at what's happening right now at the same time. Like, he was obviously there was a prospect there. You could see it. It was glaringly obvious. Like, these are good players he's got to click with, and they weren't getting selected in general. You look at the Queensland sides of the past. The Queensland side that won it 4 years ago was the worst one they've ever seen before. You know what I mean? There's a different thing about it. Like, on paper to how they play, there's very different sides of Queensland where the Blues will go for the strength. They want to make it look fantastic on paper. You're almost building a super coach side of it. And, like, fair enough. But I think they just respond a bit different, and Queenslanders respond a bit different to it. So I think the refreshing side of the Queensland side is that they are young. Like, they have got a long term to go with this. Like, you do have people like Ruben Cotter. He's obviously, Harry Grant could definitely be the starting 9, but they've still got the experience of Hunt there. You know what I mean? Like, you've got Tommy Dearden coming through, who's fantastic 5'8", because even just Munster's out. Like, these players are working well for their counterpart. I think in general, the Queensland side has a good future ahead of it. Like, I really like to worry. It sucks to see from a Blues perspective, but I think the future is bright for them. And the same thing for the Blues too. And that's why I was saying that my very first point is that I like what these two coaches have done with their teams. I like that they aren't just picking the same teams that they've been running with forever. Admittedly, you look at Queensland now, they've still got Kaufusi there. They've still got Capewell there. Like, there are better options for them now. And I don't know, to the point like everyone else, why not? Why aren't these people getting selected? Is Billy being too headstrong about the Fafita thing? Is he really just trying to knuckle down and say, doesn't matter what Dave Fafita does this season, he is not getting selected. Doesn't matter what. He could come out and score 5 tries a game from that first selection. It's not going to happen. Like, whether there's an actual point to it or not, is he just trying to set a standard?
Surely something comes out by the end of this year about something that's happened between those two, because it's just, it's mind-blowing, the fact that he's not picked. There has to be something behind it, and we want to know why. Joel, you're the man with all this. This is where you get in the lines and go and find out all the backdoor stuff, mate. Go and do some journalism.
Yeah, I want some.
No, I'll tell you what I think about the Fafita selection. I can actually see where Billy's coming from with it, because I did notice, and I don't know why I did this, but last week when they versed the Sharks, the Titans, I remember watching that very closely and watching him closely. And I thought in the back of my head, I had someone talking to me going, Fafita's not getting selected again, and just wanted to know why. What was Billy Slater looking at and seeing in regards to this? Because it felt like a clear selection for all of us here. Like, he should have been there from game one, and he was very lazy. There was a lot of lazy moments with Fafita off the ball, like making tackles and getting up. There was a lot of times he'd just stand to the side of the ruck or behind the ruck and not even try and make an effort to get back on side. And then that next tackle, he's still sort of jogging back, the slowest jog you can think of. So I think that has a bit to play with it. I think Billy Slater didn't want to call him out publicly for it. They probably had some private chats, but I think that's what he's probably seen. He knows at Origin level, with the quality of players that New South Wales have at their disposal, they would just eat that alive. You'd dead set concede 10 tries each game with that. So I can understand it from that point of view, but the thing I don't get is, okay, that's him playing 80 minutes. If you just tell him to go on and play a 25-minute role or something, you'll get absolute quality from him. He can then make those back-to-back efforts, because he knows, I've only got 20, 25 minutes out here, and he can easily do that as a player. So I just don't get that. And that's where it comes back to what Jesse was saying. I sort of agree with it. New South Wales last year were a completely different team to what they are now. They were shot to bits. Their confidence level was shot. Freddie and Brandy had just lost their marbles. I remember us going pretty in on them, Jesse, at some point last year, saying these guys are dead set lost the plot. They were picking players that weren't in form. They were picking players like Tavita Pengai Jr., who people were just going, what are you doing? Because of their own personal agendas. And it sort of makes me think about this year in a way. And is Billy overthinking things a little bit? I'm not sure. We just did that game and it was 12-5. We're giving Billy Slater a lot of credit for last year picking a lot of players in form. He hasn't done that this year for going off what we've just played. So, like players like Felice Kafusi, I know he's done a job in the past, but for me, he hasn't really done a job for the last 2 years. Like, he's not the player he once was. Capel's not the player he once was. So, I think if anything, the big question mark is to Billy Slater is you're going to go down, I got no doubt, as a great player. Your coaching career right now has a huge question mark in terms of this game right now, because depending on how this goes can define your legacy, I think, for a coaching point of view moving forward, because I don't think he's in it for the long haul. I'll be honest with you. I think he's in it for probably this year and maybe next year, and he's happy to just go. He'll go, I've done my part for my state. I'm happy to move on. So it's a huge test for him and this group of players he's put some faith in, because he's gone away from what he has for his own morals, I feel like, in a way, with this team. And granted, there's a couple of big injuries that have played a part in that, but there's still some young kids out there who are Queenslanders who have been in some form. So it's an interesting way that he's done that. But in talking about that, which player do we think holds the key to this victory? This is going to sort of be a bit of a spoiler alert to who we think will win the game. We'll obviously pick a player from that side, but JQ, who's your player that holds key to the victory on Wednesday night?
I've got two. Can I give you two?
Oh, you got one for each state, or you got?
No, I've got. It's going to be out of two people for the Blues. Well, if Mitchell can pull out the same performance he did game 2, that's just in and of itself. We know how much of an impact that had. 4 try assists, massive game. He's probably number one. But also, I thought not quite might not be the word, but Dylan Edwards didn't play maybe his best game I've ever seen, and I think he can actually elevate even in that arena kind of thing. So I'd actually think potentially Dylan Edwards. I said it last time, and I think Mitchell really surprised everyone. I don't think anyone thought he was going to come out and pull out what he did. But Dylan Edwards or Mitchell Moses will be the keys to victory, I reckon. Or
just with Dylan, I do agree with you to an extent, but what I'll say about him, I reckon he's that smart of a player he would have known in the game and realized himself that Mitchell Moses was having such a good game, which would have taken a bit of pressure off him having to play and get too involved. He probably said, you know what? My halves are doing a perfect job. I'm just going to be the link man and do my job. Just take the runs when I need to. And he played his part perfectly. And I thought as the game on, that second half, he really got more into it because he probably felt like the game went away from the Blues a little bit and he stepped up. So I don't think it was anywhere near his best game. I agree with you there, but I do think he played his own part perfectly in that game and reading the situation. Trav, who you got?
I've been tossing and turning about this. And I've legitimately been, I've looked through this list. I've looked through both teams for a good few days now. And then this afternoon thinking about what am I going to say to answer this question. I think I'm going to come down to it's the battle of the halfbacks. It's legitimate. I don't think it's going to be, I don't think this game's going to be won with the forwards. I don't think the game's going to be won off the edges. I think the game's going to be won on the battle of the halfbacks and which team controls that and who does better to control that team. Moses versus DCE. I think the player out of those two that stands up and plays better will be the team that wins.
Love it. Yeah. Jesse?
Yeah. You got. Bloody hell, I'm going to sound like a broken record after these two, but I really think it does come down to that. Like, obviously, you saw how big a difference a good halfback makes. But again, like if Moses isn't going to step up to it, then the game is over as far as I'm concerned for the Blue side. So I'm probably going to have to say Moses. But even still, like to the point of Dylan Edwards, he didn't really seem like he did much in game 2. He still got himself a try, an assist, ran for over 200 meters, had 22 runs. Like...
and we're all still saying that's like a quiet game.
Exactly. That's what I mean. Like he injects himself right where he needs to, and he plays, behind the best halfback in the comp. So like he knows to pick his moments well, and he's not going to waste his energy like Reece Walsh, for example, who just wants the ball.
You're right. He does play behind Mitchell Moses, the best half in the comp. You're right. I agree.
Oh yeah. Oh, you know what? For this game, I'll say yes, definitely.
Jerome Hughes.
He's not playing Origin Hughes. Yeah. What?
We want to talk best halfback.
Yeah, the one that's just won 3 premierships in a row.
Yeah, there's a post. Coming out about Hughes tomorrow. Don't spoil my content, guys.
Yeah,
he's getting some credit.
Yeah, it is. It's a halves game because the forwards. I think the Blues dominate the forward pack, but I think Edwards cleans up in the fullback battle, and I think between Moses and Cherry Evans, it's going to be a hell of a slog. Keen for it.
I agree. For mine, I go a bit different. I understand what you're all saying, and I do agree. But what I think needs to happen first is the platform needs to be broken down, and that comes to a guy who I think there's been a lot of criticism so far in his Origin career that he just hasn't been the player he has been at club level, and there's probably a little bit of pressure. He's had a hell of a 12 to 18 months off the field. Like I genuinely feel for the bloke, but I think Payne Haas is up for a huge game on his home turf. I feel like he'll have all the Queensland forwards basically going hard out to lay that platform the first 15, 20 minutes after being embarrassed in game 2. And I feel like it's up to him more than anyone in our pack to really stand up and say, you know what? I'm going to take this on. I'm going to take this pack on and I'm going to lead us to this victory and get on the front foot for Mitchell Moses, for Luai, for Dylan Edwards, to then their kicking games to come into play, to get my backs involved who I know are in form and are probably going to run over him if I give him the chance. So I think this is his game where he comes out and everyone will sit back afterwards and go, you know what? This is that game that we've been wanting from him. This is Broncos Payne Haas where he just gets into a mode. And as I said, I feel for what he's had to do with off the field. I don't think there's many people out there that could continue to play at the level he has done and go through what he has gone through. It's actually ridiculous when you think about it and what he's doing. I hope he's in for that big game, and I don't know how Trav feels about him, but he's the one in the forward pack I look at. I know Crichton's in such good form. I know Martin's an absolute bulldog, but Payne Haas comes out and is in that mode. I do not want to be a Queensland forward.
No. Not at all, especially getting booed by your own supporters too in your home ground. Like that's got to shake you up a bit too. But Yeah, 100%,
Right.
man. Payne Haas has copped it this year. Props to him as well. Like, he's an absolute credit to any side he plays for. But yeah, I'd love to see a big game through the middle.
Yeah. Trav, does he scare you?
No, he doesn't, and that's nothing negative on him. I think he's a gun. I love him. I think he's a really good player. But no, I'm not scared of him at all. I'm more worried about what Crichton can do than him.
Yeah.
Or Liam
No,
Martin.
I do agree with that. I understand that because as I said, he's the best edge back row in the competition so far. But speaking about him, let's go to our big predictions for the game and then get out of here. I know Jake's on the double up tonight, guys. Big peek behind the scenes, and they're getting ready to go, so he needs to leave. Our prediction and the winner. Our predictions for this: our winner, scoreline, first try, and our man of the series. Let's start with. I'll go Jesse now. Give me your scoreline.
Scoreline, I'll go 22-16.
To who?
To
Queensland.
the Blues.
Okay.
Come on now, grow up. Next one.
First try and then player of the series.
First try, I'm going to go Zach Lomax. Player of the series, I'm going to go Mitch Moses.
Oh, after only playing 2 games, that's big.
Big 2 games.
Big.
If you can come
Won
out,
2
steer the
games.
ship 4 assists, and then comes out, cleans up in the second game, takes them to victory. I feel like that's valid.
Don't mind it. Trav, that had to be a record. I don't think that's really been done before. A player that's played 2 games gets it, but who knows? It might go to Billy Slater going off their past. They might just call out Billy and go, you know what? You win the player of the series this year. Trav, who you got? What are your prediction?
I got Queensland 21-20, Cobbo first try scorer, DCE. Man of that series.
Mic drop.
Boom.
And I'm putting money on it too.
Oh, that's.
And I'm also,
what
is it? Total points, I think, sitting at 40. So I'm going to put money on the over total points too.
Oh. Like it. Jakey boy, what do you got?
I'm going to go 24-10 to the Blues. First try scorer, Zach Lomax. And Jesse got to it first, but I actually also was going to go Mitchell Moses as my player of the series. I'm backing him to go man of the match again in game 3, player of the series after only 2 games.
Wow.
My man.
I'm backing my boy.
You guys got no idea, seriously.
Suncorp scares the absolute crap out of me. I am very, very wary of the hoodoo. I believe it is real. But as I said, I actually have faith in Madge. I have faith in what this team is doing, and I love where it's going. So for that, I do think game 2, that first half plays a huge part in this game. So I think New South Wales win it. I think it's 18 points to 10. I think the first try, however, will go to Queensland. I think it will be Val Holmes in the corner in his more fancied wing role for this year because he's been in no form at centre whatsoever. So he needs to have a bit of a chance at on the wing and get back to that old Val Holmes that we know is a beast. Man of the series, I'm going to go Angus Crichton. I think he has been huge in both games, and I think he'll do it again in game 3 and become player of the series. So if that is, what a remarkable turnaround. We all know how he's off season, how it went down, and that's a tremendous turnaround. And I feel like it could be a premiership on the way as well. But that's another podcast. Anyway, that's Origin. We are getting out of here. Thank you for listening. Make sure you give us a like, subscribe, put in the comments, have you either watching or listening, who you're going for, get into that spirit. Let's really ramp things up now. We're probably by the time you're listening, it's just over 24 hours out until the big decider. And don't forget, a post show will be happening after Origin as well, live on Facebook like we do on a Wednesday night. So we won't skip the Wednesday night show. It will be happening. Thanks, boys. Keen as, rip in, Queenslander, New South Wales. Good night.
Let's
Good
go
evening.
Queensland.
Good morning. Catch you later. Up
See you on
the
the other
Blues.
side.